Luo Feng and Purple Moon, sworn enemy, Luo Feng fight Sector Beast. Hello guys, welcome back to our anime explainer. Guys, please like the video and subscribe to my channel. Today is explanation of Swallowed Star original continent based on novel. So let's start. And besides, the 8 great beings from Universe Ocean regard Luo Feng as their leader. If Luo Feng tried to stop them, would those true gods actually come? Said that Universe Master in fiery armor. All the other great beings from Purple Moon Holy Land standing around were worried about the same thing. Purple Moon Ancestor, standing in the palace, looked ashen. He glanced around those before him, and nobody in the palace dared to say anything. Instead, they remained quiet. It was silent. Dead silent. Purple Moon Ancestor stayed silent for a long time before saying, "Just go and halt that sector beast, and send that message. You don't need to worry about other issues." "Yes," answered everyone down there. 6 great beings, including the 2 true gods, flew out. Some of them had soul-type supreme true treasures, and some were from the subsidiary races of Purple Moon Holy Land. They weren't afraid of soul attacks, as they had no souls. Humph! Purple Moon Ancestor's face turned pale with rage, seeing that only 6 great beings had left. Since the battle in the world of Jin, all the elites working under him were dead, and the true treasures carried by all those universe masters were lost. Now, Purple Moon Holy Land was destitute. The Divine Eye clan and the skeleton race may have been richer than they were. Luo Feng. Purple Moon Ancestor was hesitant. He had suppressed the human race and sought to kill Luo Feng before. That made him the enemy of the human race. In the world of Jin, Luo Feng had killed a large group of universe masters from Purple Moon Holy Land. All the valuables carried by those universe masters had been lost in the world of Jin. They had suffered a great loss. And the grudge between the 2 powers only grew. Now, humans were the first power in Universe Ocean. Luo Feng was the strongest great being in Universe Ocean. The Sector Beast crisis required Luo Feng. Luo Feng, Purple Moon Ancestor, was terribly upset. A 9-level tower floated in the chaos airspace in Universe Ocean. Inside the tower, Luo Feng stood gazing into the space outside. As for Hong and Fire Dome, they both sat with their legs crossed beside him, immersed in their training. Luo Feng moved his eyebrows. He waves his hands, and a communications token showed up. Divine Eye True God. Juhi True God. Why did they both send me a message at the same time? Luo Feng was confused. Milky Way, Juhi True Master also sent you a message. It seems that he got the message from Purple Moon Holy Land as well. Divine Eye True Master sent the message. Both Juhi and I have some connections with Purple Moon Holy Land. Just now, Purple Moon Holy Land sent us a message that the Sector Beast showed up right outside Purple Moon Holy Land. Luo Feng said, "Oh. Outside Purple Moon Holy Land. The 2 beings from Purple Moon Holy Land, who can resist it, are the 2 true gods," said Juhi True God. A large group of universe masters from Purple Moon Holy Land died in the world of Jin, and their valuables are lost there. After that, they don't even dare to go to the world of Jin. Without machine-type valuables, those 2 true gods are just mediocre. They are not the Sector Beast's match. Luo Feng sneered. They were as crazy and reckless they could be. Now what? What do they want? Luo Feng sent a message back. The message is very simple. They want us to deal with that Sector Beast, said Divine Eye True Master. Milky Way, should we go or not? Milky Way, asked Juhi True God. The other 7 great overlords regarded Luo Feng as their leader, and besides, humans were the number 1 power in Universe Ocean. As for the 2 Holy Lands, East Emperor Holy Land wasn't an enemy of the humans, so they were doing fine. As for Purple Moon Holy Land, they didn't even have a machine-type valuable, so they couldn't even rival the Divine Eye race, or the skeleton race, let alone the humans. Besides, neither Juhi True God nor Divine Eye True Master cared about Purple Moon Holy Land. The only thing they were worried about was the Sector Beast crisis. After all, they were the enemies of everyone in Universe Ocean. Tell Purple Moon Ancestor, said Luo Feng indifferently. Give me the component of a true treasure, and I'll help him. Otherwise. Humph. A component of a true treasure. What component of a true treasure? Juhi True God and Divine, I True Master were both confused. Just send the message, said Luo Feng. Purple Moon Ancestor will know what I'm talking about. Okay, Divine I True Master and Juhi True God answered. Luo Feng's eyes appeared cold. He was hostile toward Purple Moon Holy Land, but after all, the Purple Moon Holy Land had a component of his Shawu wings, and up until now, Luo Feng hadn't thought of any other way to get it. Sector beasts were the only thing he could rely on. The palace of Purple Moon Holy Land. Milky Way Horde leader named his price. We need to give him the component of the true treasure he needs. After that, he'll help us. Purple Moon Ancestor looked down and snorted. I knew he was going to bring that up. Luo Feng could feel the summoning power of the Shawu Wings component even if he was a billion light years away from Purple Moon Holy Land. Ordinary true gods couldn't understand what such a deal meant to the humans, but Purple Moon Ancestor did. That was why, in the past trillion eras, the humans had offered deals several times. If the humans agreed, Purple Moon Holy Land was willing to give up that component of the true treasure. Then they can get into the world of Jinn without any obstacles, yet Purple Moon Ancestor didn't agree to it. What did Divine Eye and the others say? Asked Purple Moon coldly. Divine Eye and the others don't oppose Milky Way Horde leader. All the universe masters standing down there felt hopeless. The Purple Moon Holy Land was no longer as it had been, and nobody cared about it. Purple Moon Ancestor kept thinking. Everyone looked anxious. They hoped their ancestor would say yes, as it was only a component. If Purple Moon Holy Land was destroyed, all of them would die. They were a race that could live forever, yet they might be annihilated instantly. Ancestor, even without that component, Milky Way Horde leader is the strongest great being. Even if he gets the component, it won't make any difference, said other great beings. That Milky Way Horde leader made us. What do you know? Snapped Purple Moon Ancestor. He glanced around coldly, and everyone went silent. Purple Moon Ancestor was silent for a long time. It made sense. He couldn't do anything to Luo Feng, and when he became a true god, he would be invincible. However, the miniature universe was tied to his own destiny. I agree, said Purple Moon Ancestor, clenching his teeth. If he helps us, I'll give him the component. Yes. Everyone was happy. This was good. If Purple Moon Holy Land could erase the grudge with the humans, the great beings there would have a much easier time. Divine I True Master and Juhi True Master knew about the call for help from Purple Moon Holy Land at first. Soon, Primal Chaos City Leader and the others all learned of it. They agreed. Purple Moon Holy Land has agreed. Primal Chaos City Leader was exhilarated to find out that Purple Moon Holy Land has agreed. He went to the dimension in the virtual universe that belonged to Luo Feng. He stepped across the space. Luo Feng, Purple Moon Ancestor finally acquiesced. Luo Feng sitting on the square also stood up and smiled. Ha ha. That old guy always tried to suppress us humans. Now that is anxious. I've been waiting for that component for such a long time, and I'm finally going to get it now. I'm going to Purple Moon Holy Land now. Okay. Primal Chaos City Leader nodded. One more thing. After getting that component, how are you going to treat Purple Moon Holy Land? I'll suppress them less harshly. Luo Feng smiled. Shawu Wing only had one last pair of wings left, and Luo Feng had been longing for it for a long time. He was certainly thrilled now. He drove Star Tower and headed toward Purple Moon Holy Land as quickly as possible. Outside Purple Moon Holy Land. Almost. Sector Beast Maroa looked at the contour of Purple Moon Holy Land in the distance and looked smug. So satisfying. No wonder this Purple Moon Holy Land is a miniature universe at a higher level. It tastes much better than the universe origins of ordinary miniature universes. However, I could only eat it slowly. It's been a day. I can't stay here any longer. Otherwise, I'll be trapped. Time to go. The sector beast teleported and disappeared. From beginning to the end, he didn't care about the two true gods hiding in the palace who tried to slow him down at all. It's gone. The 4 true gods and 4 universe masters in the supreme true treasure palace, who were trying to slow down the sector beast, were all overjoyed. Quick, go back and tell our ancestor. They all went back. Inside Purple Moon Holy Land, Purple Moon Ancestor couldn't help looking happy. He could sense that the sector beast had stopped swallowing the origin, and after only a short while, 6 beings flew inside the palace from outside. Ancestor, the sector beast has left. It teleported and left. The 2 true gods stood under there, reporting the news gladly. Purple Moon Ancestor nodded his head and said, that sector beast has been trying to swallow other miniature universes, and it's always disappeared after only 1 day of trying. This time, it also disappeared after a day. It's normal. If Milky Way Horde leader Luo Feng comes and asks for that component, just tell him I don't have it. No. Everyone was scared. We can't do that, Ancestor. What about next time? We've already had a deal. To the Universe Masters, the component was useless. They would rather give it to Luo Feng and mitigate the tensions with the humans. Purple Moon Ancestor said coldly, no need to worry. It won't make any difference. If we give it to him but Luo Feng turns his back on us, then what could we do? I was just thinking, the sector beast has been eating the origins of miniature universes, but it leaves every time after it swallows some of it. It must be very beneficial if it keeps eating the origin. The origin is a magical force, and it can maintain a miniature universe. It can even breed life forms. If sector beasts keep eating miniature universes, their power will be enhanced. Purple Moon Ancestor continued coldly. The more powerful the sector beasts are, the more difficult it is for Luo Feng to deal with them. Then the humans will die out. He won't just let the sector beast keep eating the origin. They'll panic if the sector beast keeps eating. They won't take the risk. Even if he would take the risk, his teacher, Divine Eye, and others wouldn't bet on it. Purple Moon Ancestor had calculated as much. The origin of his miniature universe was 10,000 times stronger than those of true gods, yet the sector beast ate it very slowly. Purple Moon Ancestor calculated that it might have taken tens of thousands of years for it to finish it. Besides, that sector beast wouldn't just stay in one place. Luo Feng was filled with expectation as he maneuvered Star Tower. He was on his way to Purple Moon Holy Land Universe when Divine Eye True Master sent a message. Milky Way Horde leader. That sector beast was at the peripheral region of Purple Moon Holy Land, where, likewise, it devoured the origin for a day and then left. At the same time, Purple Moon Holy Land wanted me to inform you, Milky Way Horde leader, that you are no longer required to go there. Luo Feng's greatly enthusiastic heart instantly cooled down. Luo Feng's expression darkened as he transmitted his response. What do you mean, no longer required to go there? What Purple Moon Holy Land meant was, the deal agreed upon previously is called off, Divine Eye True Master said helplessly. Then what about the promise they made previously? Luo Feng continued to ask in an indifferent tone. Divine Eye True Master said, the other part of the news means. The promise made earlier on was based on the condition that Milky Way Horde leader would help them deal with the sector beast. But now, the sector beast has left of its own accord. There is no need for Milky Way Horde leader's help in dealing with it, so, unquestionably, there is no need for them to give you a true treasure in exchange. Milky Way, honestly speaking, when they transmitted this piece of information, even I felt angry just listening to it. But, you should know. The sector beast is not only an enemy of Purple Moon Holy Land, but a common enemy for all the races within Universe Ocean. I know you are filled with anger now, and you will most likely want to let the sector beast devour Purple Moon Holy Land to its heart's content. While swallowing for 8 to 10 days is no big deal, if the time it spends on devouring grows too lengthy, we cannot stand idly by any longer. I know, replied Luo Feng. I will place importance on the big picture. But spread my word. From this point on, Purple Moon Holy Land will be my, Luo Feng's, sworn enemy. Someplace far away, Divine I True Master was taken aback. He could also feel the intensity of that endless anger raging in Luo Feng. Milky Way, Divine I True Master could not help but feel worried. To deal with the sector beast, they had to depend mainly on Luo Feng. I will look at the big picture, Luo Feng said. His response sounded reasonable enough, but all the more, Divine I True Master felt that his words contained limitless fury. Within Star Tower, Luo Feng's expression was hideous as he held onto his transmission token. His anger was so great that his veins were threatening to pop out and burst. Purple Moon Holy Land, Purple Moon Holy Land, his eyes flashed coldly. I wanted to give you all chance, but since you all are not appreciative, my Shawu wings would rather make do with their imperfections and make you all regret that you have done. Toward Purple Moon Holy Land, Luo Feng no longer held on to any feelings of pity. However, he was also aware that he could not allow the sector beast to continue devouring the origin of Purple Moon Holy Land as it pleased. After all, every time it devoured an origin, it would disappear for half a year. Various races of Universe Ocean had long suspected that the sector beast spent that time digesting and absorbing whatever it had swallowed to increase its power. A human grew when it consumed food. A golden horned beast grew when it ate metals. All operated on the same theory. The sector beast might, unfortunately, feed on the universe origin to become stronger. It seemed highly possible. Purple Moon Holy Land was, after all, a holy land universe of a true god of void space. That origin would likely be the equivalent of hundreds and thousands of origins of true god-level miniature universes combined. If Luo Feng allowed the sector beast to continue devouring like that, who knew what would be the result would be? If the sector beast became incomparably powerful, to the extent that no one could fight against it, then Purple Moon Holy Land could be faced with its doomsday. But if this continued, the entire human race, including Luo Feng and his family, would have to face the fate of annihilation. This was what Luo Feng could not accept. He did not dare to use the lives of family and friends, and the lives of the entire pulse of Earth, as bargaining chips. He was reluctant to gamble with them. Purple Moon Ancestor, you are indeed ruthless, said Luo Feng. You have already guessed that I would not dare to take such a gamble, and that I would not risk it all just for a single piece of a true treasure. Perhaps you are not concerned about the universe masters under your command, or perhaps your Purple Moon Holy Land would prefer to continue withdrawing into passive defense. Luo Feng's gaze turned icy. But your Purple Moon Holy Land shall be my, Luo Feng's, sworn enemy, and I shall remember this. Before I achieve my breakthrough to become a true god of void space, I will definitely try to destroy your Purple Moon Holy Land. Luo Feng was bellowing the words in his heart as he spoke them. I will think of every way possible to ensure that you live to regret this. To destroy a miniature universe of a true god of void space, usually only an eternal true god executing some superior methods, could achieve such a feat. This was a piece of information that Luo Feng had learned in the past. However, Purple Moon Ancestor's miniature universe was not considered large. The smallest miniature universes at the level of a true god of void space had diameters around 1 billion light-years, and the biggest could have diameters as long as 10 billion light-years. The Purple Moon Holy Land miniature universe had a diameter of 2.1 billion light-years, while East Emperor Holy Land miniature universe was 3.2 billion light-years in diameter. The size of a miniature universe was related to many different factors, including the erection of the internal structural framework when a miniature universe was established, or whether the godly power root, or the law root had been chosen to become a true god. The bigger the miniature universe, the more power was provided, and the more stable it would be. For instance, the legends of true gods of void spaces had mentions of a miniature universe with a diameter of 10 billion light-years, that was comparable to the lowest level miniature universe of eternal true gods. Of course, that was merely a legend. Even for an extraordinary talent, who had once attained 90,000 times life genes, or even for the 3 generations of ancestors, at the true god of void space stage, none of their miniature universes had ever reached 0 billion light-years. This perfect, ultimate limit was only a legend. When one was a true god of void space, it was usually unlikely for the miniature universe to be of a diameter that was merely 1 billion light-years. Normally, the size would not be so ridiculously small. Weaker true gods of void space would have miniature universes with diameters around 2 billion light-years, while stronger ones would have miniature universes with diameters around 3 billion light-years. The elite's miniature universes could reach diameters of 4 billion light-years, while those of extraordinary talents could reach around 5 billion light-years. In short, the higher level one attained on the social scale, the more difficult it was to maintain the miniature universe. As for a talent that achieved 90,000 times life genes via the godly power route, and the 3 generations of ancestors, a true god of void space with a miniature universe that had a diameter of 10 billion light-years, this was just a legend of the ancient civilization. Purple Moon's miniature universe is not big, thought Luo Feng. It's even smaller than East Emperor's. If I become a true god of void space, by relying on an automaton-type treasure and various secret techniques, I can certainly achieve an outburst to unleash the power of an eternal true god. Perhaps then I might be able to destroy Purple Moon Holy Land universe. Luo Feng made a mental note. Luo Feng's expression grew increasingly awful as he tried to contain his anger. Teacher. Luo Feng. Fire Dome and Hong were looking at Luo Feng. They felt a little worried, as they did not know what might happen next. I'm all right, Luo Feng replied. Let's go back and continue to guard against the sector beast. We're no longer going to Purple Moon Holy Land. Fire Dome was shocked. Not going. Luo Feng shook his head. He walked straight to the steering wheel and sat down, making no further comments. Fire Dome and Hong looked at one another as they both speculated what was going on. However, both of them soon heard the news from Primal City Chaos Leader. What they learned greatly angered them. This was outright bullying. The promise made previously had been broken in the blink of an eye. How shameless could they get? It seemed Purple Moon Ancestor was not the least bit interested in appeasing the wrath incurred by the humans and Luo Feng, not even the slightest trace of it. If that was the case, then they would be their sworn enemies. Time passed. This time, less than a month after it devoured the origin of Purple Moon Holy Land miniature universe, the sector beast reappeared in Universe Ocean. The timing defied the expectations of every powerful group. This time, it moved on to devouring the origin of rampaging Devil God's miniature universe. Upon devouring the origin of one miniature universe, it disappeared for half a year. Upon devouring the origin of another miniature universe, it disappeared for another half a year. Sector Beast had resumed its attacks on miniature universes, and this worried the various races of Universe Ocean. If it went on, many miniature universes would collapse. It had been 3 years since the incident with Purple Moon Holy Land. Within the void space surrounding Sea Badger, True Master's miniature universe, a silver-white vessel hung suspended in space. Luo Feng's golden horned beast body was inside the vessel. Although it was known as golden horned beast body, Luo Feng had already transformed it so that it took human form. Perhaps for common universe masters, size and form would have an impact on their power. As for Luo Feng, who had achieved 89,999 times life gene level on his godly power route, he could easily change his life structure to take on the form he would require, according to the circumstances he was in. And he could also unleash his power to perfection. A piece of information was transmitted over to Luo Feng. Milky Way Horde Leader, Milky Way Horde Leader. Sector Beast has appeared outside my miniature universe now. Golden Horned Beast Luo Feng was momentarily shocked, but shortly after, he showed his delight. A message from Sea Badger True Master. Milky Way. Suddenly, Divine Eye True Master and several other true gods were sending messages over as well. Ha ha ha, laughed Golden Horned Luo Feng. After such a long wait. See, what did I say? So long as no one knows my whereabouts, I will secretly stay hidden. Then surely, there will be at least a chance of encountering this sector beast while it is out to devour miniature universes. Luo Feng was thrilled. What a pity it did not cross paths with the other team I deployed. Luo Feng had divided his other bodies into 2 teams this time around. One route was taken by his remote ocean body and his Mosha body, who traveled with a series of powerful treasures like Shawu Wings, Wuchi God, Star Tower, and Blood Ghost Blade. The other route was taken by his golden horned beast body alone. Although equipped with several automaton-type treasures, in terms of the ability to unleash power, it was inferior to the other team. Even so, the automaton-type treasures that my golden horned beast body possess far surpass Divine, I True Master, and Juhi True Master's treasures. Golden horned Luo Feng was very confident. This golden horned beast body has combat power that is stronger than any of them. Speaking of power, his other team was, of course, much stronger, great enough to surpass the power of all the other 7 True Masters put together. As for his golden horned beast body, compared to the other 7 True Masters, it might have been slightly stronger, but the advantageous position it had over them was not obvious. Of course, given Luo Feng's comprehension and cultivation for the past trillion eras, even this ordinary golden horned beast body could prove to be an extremely difficult opponent. Maybe this time around, I will be able to kill that sector beast. Golden horned Luo Feng smiled. This silver vessel teleported over right away. At the same time, Luo Feng transmitted a message to Sea Badger True Master. Sea Badger, I've arrived. Arrived? Sea Badger True Master was shocked. It had only sent out the call for help a moment ago. Nonetheless, it was overjoyed. Milky Way Horde leader was the first to arrive. At least he would be able to prevent that sector beast from devouring too much. These are the coordinates of where the sector beast is. Sea Badger True Master sent the coordinates right away. Within the peripheral area of Sea Badger True Master's miniature universe, a chaotic airflow was filling up the void space. A certain area within this endless chaotic airflow was filled with black fog. In the midst of it was a lofty figure. It was Sector Beast Morosa, and it stood upright, right in the middle of the black fog, waving its tail as it delightfully devoured the origin of that miniature universe. Streams of distorted light rays extended and penetrated the void space. Sector Beast Morosa was quite pleased. It felt that the whole universe ocean was its plaything. The surrounding space suddenly froze. Ceiling of space. Sector Beast Morosa was shocked. So fast. Based on its experience, anytime it was devouring a miniature universe, the master of that miniature universe, a true god, was likely to drive his palace supreme true treasure over to harass him. But the sealing of space was highly unusual, because those true gods were usually quite eager to chase him away. Why would they seal space? Only when top-tier true gods like Nine-Headed Demon Master arrived, or if a big group of true gods arrived together, would they dare to seal the space. A silver-white vessel arrived. When the cabin doors opened, a man wearing a suit of golden armor strolled out. Sector Beast Morosa took one look and was instantly taken aback. A universe master. It wasn't that Sector Beast Morosa hadn't met a universe master. Many true gods would send universe masters to inspect first, but nobody performed space seal, and nobody had a force so terrific or powerful. You are. Sector Beast Morosa stared at the man in golden armor stepping through space, coming at him. Human Milky Way Horde leader Luo Feng. Yes. Luo Feng took back the spaceship and stared at the Sector Beast Morosa. I heard you are the strongest great being in the entire universe ocean. You're only a universe master, but you're the strongest great being. Sector Beast Morosa stared at Luo Feng. He sneered. It seems that the other true gods in universe ocean are so weak that you, as only a universe master, can become the strongest great being. Though he said as much, Sector Beast Morosa had already stopped eating the origin, and those traces of light started to spin around him. Apparently, he was being very careful and vigilant. After all, Luo Feng's reputation preceded him. He wouldn't underestimate this human before him. You'll know after we fight. Luo Feng's godly body had already performed Duan Mie. He immediately performed the first 3 volumes, and after burning his godly power, his power became incredible, stronger than the previous true gods. Generally, true gods only had one level of godly power technique. Few of them had two levels. Luo Feng was in golden armor. He waved his right hand, and out of nowhere, a chain with glowing green light appeared. The giant chain wound around Luo Feng's body. Just a universe master, Sector Beast was smirking, but it kept gazing at Luo Feng carefully with its bloody eyes. They were facing each other, observing each other. Suddenly, Sector Beast Morosa opened its mouth without making any sound. The soundless scream echoed in Luo Feng's soul. Luo Feng had stronger willpower than nine-headed devil god. As for energies, he had the most in universe ocean under 3 levels of godly power burning. And when it came to techniques, Luo Feng had 2 inheritances from the world of Jin and Duan Dong River. This so-called soul attack was like a breeze to Luo Feng. He didn't feel anything. Luo Feng wasn't affected at all. He whipped out the giant chain surrounding him. Go! A giant chain that looked like a python flew out. The chain twisted, slashed through the sky, and endless snow flowed in the space around the chain. The snow was fluttering, covering an area of 10 square light years. Time and space were forbidden. At this moment, Luo Feng had already utilized 2 valuables. One of them was the chain, a machine-type attacking weapon by Yang Chain. The other was a domain machine-type valuable named Snow World. It had the ability to control space and time, was as powerful as Golden Country, perhaps stronger. In the past trillion eras, he had obtained many valuables from the world of Jin, so this time, he was well prepared. Even though this team didn't have as many valuables as the other team, the valuables Golden Horned Beast Luo Feng had were still awed by true gods like Divine Eye. The snowy world arrived as if the chaos space had been replaced by a world of white. The snow was falling. Sector Beast Morosa stood there, but it was surrounded by black mist. There were thickly dotted black threads around its body. A giant chain slashed the sky, and just as it flew across the sky, it became a large flow of water. The giant stream of water cut through the sky. Everywhere it touched, the space turned green, and there was green grass growing in space. The giant water flow splashed Sector Beast Morosa. It was extremely fast. The whip appeared to be soft, but actually, it was rapid and fierce. The giant flow of water turned from the chain and whipped Sector Beast Morosa. The parts of its body whipped by the chain sank, even its head, molded like gold bullion. The giant water pillar kept whipping the Sector Beast relentlessly, turning into a phantom. Luo Feng was staring into the distance, burning his godly power to its maximum degree. He triggered the engravings on that machine-type valuable, and he was performing a technique he had created, but of water and wood. The core of that technique was relentless. The water pillar kept whipping the Sector Beast, yet there was grass growing throughout the snowy world, and the liveliness permeated the space, suppressing Sector Beast Morosa. It kept whipping Morosa, turning it into chunks. However, it still hadn't crumbled. There followed a furious roar. Sector Beast Morosa was furious, completely suppressed under the constant whipping. It was continually losing strength. Go! Sector Beast Morosa glared at Luo Feng in the distance. All of a sudden, the black threads surrounding Sector Beast Morosa all flew toward Luo Feng in the distance, trying to cover him. They flew very fast, unhindered by the speed limit of universe ocean. Instantly, they reached Luo Feng, surrounding him like a black mist cocoon. Inside the cocoon, Luo Feng was completely enveloped. The size of the cocoon was variable, and it was stuck to Luo Feng. It started to swallow his godly power. His indeed quick. Luo Feng nodded. Once it was performed, I was immediately surrounded. Firefly True Master was attacked by this move, and he couldn't dodge it. Luo Feng immediately shrank his godly body, but the black mist cocoon followed suit, shrinking along with him. Bigger, bigger, bigger. Luo Feng burned his power madly, trying to oppose the black mist cocoon around him. Even if it was Sector Beast Morosa, it was difficult for him to swallow godly power while it was burning like this. As soon as Luo Feng grew large, the black mist cocoon became 100 million kilometers tall. Sector Beast Morosa was controlling the black mist cocoon, but it felt like the cocoon couldn't swallow much of the godly power. Morosa became anxious. When it saw the cocoon became 100 million kilometers tall, it realized something wrong. He's trying to get out. I won't let that happen. I'm much stronger than before. Want to get out? Break, yelled Luo Feng, trapped in the cocoon. Break. The giant chain in space suddenly became straight as a spear. Then the gleaming spear slashed the cocoon like a dazzling streak of white light. The space the white light passed through wasn't shattered, but there were circles of strange, swirling ripples. At that moment, Luo Feng, inside the black mist cocoon, also used his claw. The claw was like a blade. It slashed without a sound, but all the space it threw past crumbled. One from the outside and one from the inside. The chain spear was outside, while the claw was inside. Both of them were machine-type valuables. The black mist cocoon suddenly shook. A tiny crack appeared on it, but it immediately recovered while Luo Feng was still trapped inside. I can't get out. Luo Feng looked surprised. That shouldn't be. I used two machine-type valuables at the same time, from both the outside and the inside. I was also burning my godly power to support it, so I should have broken the cocoon. It seems I need to burn more godly power. The resilience of the black mist cocoon made all the great beings from Universe Ocean realize how difficult it was to break it with a weapon-based attack. However, Luo Feng deemed that it was possible for him to do so. He had successfully produced a crack on the cocoon just now, so that meant he needed to improve his attacking power. Normally, the best way to break out was to use his own godly power to consume the power from the sector beast. He would just consume the power from the black mist cocoon, so that the sector beast couldn't supply that much power anymore. Then it would crumble, as it didn't have that defense power. Do you really think you can get out that easily? Sector beast Morosa saw Luo Feng fail, and it smirked. However, the smile froze immediately. Luo Feng, who was trapped in the giant black mist cocoon that was 100 million kilometers tall, burned his godly power. Before being converted by machine-type valuables, it spread around like wildfire. The energies contained in the black mist cocoon were being quickly annihilated. They were consuming each other. Break. Luo Feng reached out with his hands. His claws extended outward at the same time. After a faint roar from the beast, two strange beasts landed on his hands, grabbing the black mist cocoon at the front. He tore the black mist apart. The black mist cocoon was trying to consume the godly power of Luo Feng, and it was 100 million kilometers tall. At such a size, the energies consumed were so extravagant that even sector beast Morosa felt a huge burden. When the cocoon was consuming too much power, the binding strength naturally got weaker. Luo Feng tore at it again. It was unnecessary for him to use his techniques, as he could just tear it apart with his bare hands. He tore the black mist cocoon apart, then walked out into space. Is that all you've got, sector beast? Luo Feng dashed toward the sector beast in the distance like a streak of light. Sector beast Morosa was intimidated. After all, he wasn't the ultimate king yet. When a sector beast became a king, its greatest function was to breed many super warriors. Sector beasts rarely engaged others in combat, which meant the sector beasts were weaker in fighting but stronger at survival. I've already improved my power, but he still got out that easily. He's only a universe master, but he has such great power. The godly power I just used might be that of a true god several 100,000 kilometers tall. Sector beast Morosa immediately decided to run away. I'm not strong enough. I need to get stronger by eating more miniature universes. I'll go. Sector beast Morosa roared. An engraving with a black edge and a golden surface appeared. There were 99 engravings, and Hong. Its body cracked and transformed into 99 traces of light. Luo Feng frowned. It immediately ran away, after only a few comebacks. It's a coward. Universe chain, yelled Luo Feng. That giant chain immediately started to spin, morphing into many thick, long chains, all well dispersed. 10,000 chains flew outward like snakes diving at their target. It was like an umbrella being opened. Even the body of a sector beast couldn't be as fast as a machine-type valuable. All 99 bodies of Morosa felt as if everything had turned dark. It was like it had entered a miniature universe made of chains. This video will end here.